All right, good morning. Welcome to Inside Pages on Metro Television. My name is Aldo Moro. It's a pleasure coming your way on a Saturday, beautiful Saturday morning such as this. And I know this is where Ghana watches, and this is where Ghana tunes into every Saturday morning from 8 to 10. So here on Inside Pages, essentially what we do is that we look into the pages of the newspapers. We come up with the most topical issue for the week. And what I can tell you, as a matter of fact, is that one of the biggest stories that have made the headlines this week is about the choice of a running mate for the vice president, who's also the flag bearer and leader of the New Patriotic Party. It's been widely speculated, it's been rumored. The vice president now officially, we can tell you, has settled on Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, who we affectionately called NAPO, as his running mate. And how did that official confirmation come about? Yesterday, the majority leader addressed the media. In fact, the majority leader engaged the media yesterday and actually confirmed to them that the vice president had met them and had actually mentioned to them that Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh is the guy he wants to go into the 2024 elections with. There have been all kinds of reactions and interpretations and analysis based on that. We'll do same here this morning on Inside Pages. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, the conversation will start, and I'll tell you who and who are joining me this morning. All right, so this is Inside Pages on Metro Television. So welcome back. Thank you very much for choosing us. My name is Aldo Moro. I'll give you the WhatsApp line for those of you who want to join the conversation, because I'm sure you guys have views and opinions that you would share, or you will be sharing as the conversation kicks off. It's 0249-155-646, 0249-155-646. So that's the WhatsApp line. Please join us. Let us know what you think about the choice of Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh, who is the Energy Minister, as a running mate of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And now I can tell you it's been confirmed. It's fait accompli. It's done and dusted. It's that's it. And nothing is going to change. Yesterday, the vice president met the majority in parliament and had actually mentioned to the group that this is his choice, and he gave them reasons why. He said, in his estimation, the minister had accomplished, had done well in his field of endeavor. He has certain qualities that he believes will complement him. If or when Ghanaians give him the opportunity to become president, give a litany of reasons why he believed and felt that Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh is the guy that can support him solidly to be able to deliver when if Ghanaians give him the opportunity to become president. So 0249-155-646. But also remember that prior to the meeting with the majority in parliament, we had the member of parliament for Asantachim North, and I'm talking about the Honorable Andiapia Kubi, who had actually come out to say that the choice of Matthew Opoku-Prempeh was actually wrong. And his reasoning is that Matthew Opoku-Prempeh doesn't have the gravitas, doesn't have the stature to be able to lead as vice president and to be able to relate to the NPP caucus in parliament, because he doesn't really have the best of relations with them. And so basically didn't think that he would be the right choice for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. And he said, look, at the end of the day, the majority had not been consulted or had not been informed about the decision. And so Andy Apiakubi said, well, we've not been told, it's not been confirmed, but I have a preference, and he's not my preference, and so on and so forth. So we'll play you that video as well before we kickstart our conversation. But like I said, the more fundamental question is Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh the guy for the job? We'll find out this morning when we're joined by resource persons who have opinions to share as far as this is concerned. So I want to show you this tape. Let's play this tape. When we're done playing the tape and we come back, I will introduce my resource persons for today. Now watch this.
Several polls, including one conducted by the National Intelligence Bureau, have positioned Energy Minister Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh as a top candidate to partner with Dr. Bawumia. Another poll by the Dankwa Institute carried out in the second week of June 2024, also put the Meisha South MP in the lead. Before entering Parliament, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh served as CEO of KidMap Security Services Limited from 2004 to 2009. He is also a medical doctor and was a member of the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of the United Kingdom from 1999 to 2003. First elected to Parliament in 2008, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh was named by President Akufo-Addo in May 2017 as one of the 90 ministers forming his cabinet. He served as Minister for Education until 2021 when he was reassigned to the Energy Ministry, where he currently serves.
Omanpanyi dada Akufo oyi esremuni for the vice president and President Akufo-Addo so yi esremuni nti say esremuni na abe stand for president there and oyi Ashanti region so am gidi say ebeboa
menkwa madwene dia mepe eyemede si eyi no because ani aso nti say fa no say we vice a minim say adwuma no obetimi aye etili kwa de breaki dada anye omo ne beka say betuma me ya breaki
na wo hwe quantity ene na ho fama ene ne ya wa ya ma party na o deserve say Bawumia ebo ni bi ye mfa so ye santini nye no kra keke na po first thing oba ya obeyi Dr. Adokofo free mensia vote awonyama MPP no ono Adokofo na kra na oye ne busuane ne ho dwiri no
anya me hwe because MPP na Bawumia na mu kra ne omo nyina me obi e mo amenti no e running mate and so hu hia me because you to know come there you the whole chire because you adwuma sem nyina nko yi nti no ye no ye twen send this paper power na adwuma start na so nya bia because someone and this was no na ye ho toy because me mechanic me heavy duty mechanic me excavator mo no sanema because nti guarantee no so so a na so nya bia and na see e tena see ni na ye titifie adwuma nko so e be da nya bia di and na see na nti end the MPP ni there e obi a hu hia.
The choice of NAPO will not add much to the ticket of Dr. Bawumia because of the lackluster performance of the MPP administration. But for democracy, maybe Ghanaians would have gone Kenyan way. But we are more advanced, we understand democracy, we believe in democracy. So most Ghanaians are quiet because time is almost up. We have just about a few months to go, the next 4 or 5 months, and that will be it.
Mom, catch a mystery day. Obiara ofata otividi ya running late no. Obo 1 million. Ono na year 600. Obia oye dwuma zenzen. Oye achiever. No betim wa bom wa attain goals. Onde na you na year social. At obia oye person kunya na denze oru bebe sigane skade. Obve because you want to change. And so be a name the one naming this no be as in the reaction.
It is the what do you call it, the flag bearer, a mandate to select his own candidate who can be of help of him. So if he said Bawumia said he want to partner with NAPO, for that one is for him and then their party.
I don't know in the and the phone can best. There's no point managing because it is minister about my boy. That of Libya, light of Nad. They can't see Muso, but a Muso, say Muso never. Oh, I'm a boy. Think I'll be sick in Japan and I say, we call a ya. Right, Oba, we call Yahushi. But I say Yahushi, in Japan, they can best. Best candidates on your background, I also.
Right, so we've set the tone for this conversation. So you just heard some indigents of in Ashanti region who were expressing their thoughts about the choice of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh as a running mate to to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Largely, you can tell that those who were spoken to appear to like the choice, except for a few who said it really didn't matter. Their minds were already made up. But so that's where we are now. Joining us this morning, we have 4 resource persons joining us for the next 2 hours. We have a man you haven't seen in a while, actually. He sort of appears and disappears. He likes to work submarine most of the time. He's an operational person more than a talk person, but we've been able to get him to the studio. He's a former member of parliament for the Adenta constituency, and also a very influential member within the NDC, and I'm talking about the Honorable Kojo Edu Asaria, who is popularly known as Swagger. He's a fashionista. Good morning, sir. Thank you very much for your time. It's been a while.
Yeah.
You've been watching from afar and do your own analysis.
I'll tell you why I've been out of touch for a while.
That's fine. And also, we have Mr. Ernest Adade. Mr. Ernest Adade is, a very solid communicator of the New Patriotic Party. He's also a friend of the media. He was actually in Kufurida when we spoke to him. He said, look, as for Metro TV Moro, I'll be here. And so he took time off his very busy schedule to join us. So we're really grateful. Ernest, good morning. It's good to see you. Thank you very much. So that's Ernest Adade. He's a prominent member of the MPP's communications team. And then we have the former general secretary of the CPP, a very strong woman, a very affable woman indeed. That's Nanaya Jantwa. She's also joined us this morning. Nanaya is a woman of many parts, but just to make it simple, say former general secretary of the CPP. Nanaya, good morning. It's good to see you. Please switch your microphone on.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. I hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm fine under the circumstances.
All right. Okay. So my resource persons are complete, but there's one more person, actually. He's the last but not the least. Professor Samuel Edujemfi is a political historian in KNUST. He's a lecturer at KNUST. Professor Edujemfi will join us via Zoom. Prof, I believe you're on. Hello, Prof? Okay, all right. We'll sort out Prof Zoom and then he'll join us shortly. So here we go. Can we play the Honorable Andiapia Kubi's video, if we have it, before we kickstart the conversation? Do we have the Andiapia Kubi's video where he is expressing his own thoughts about what he makes of? Okay, right. So we'll play that video shortly. But let me start with Mr. Ernest Adade. This is his party. This is an internal issue. But because we're Ghanaians, we have a stake. We have an opinion to express on it. So I'll start with Ernest Adade. Ernest, when you and I spoke yesterday in the morning, it wasn't very clear whether it was going to be NAPO or not. Okay, the video is ready. Good. So let's play this video before I start with Ernest. Let's do this.
Where National Council has confirmed some nominees. We have had situations where the National Council has declined confirmation of a nominee. So it can be A or B. So for now, we are only just waiting on the presidential candidate to exercise his mandate of nominating one of members of the party as his running mate.
Are you surprised that some names are already going around and there are talks that a name has been presented to the president and the president seems to have accepted that name?
I have heard various names being bandied about, but as I know, in seasons like this, everybody wants to be heard. So people are doing necessary campaigns, and I've heard quite a lot. Is it just by constitutional details? Are we supposed to campaign for selection? The answer is no. So all those who are just campaigning, I'm sure they are wasting their time. If I was the presidential candidate, I would decline nomination of any one of them who are contesting and campaigning unconstitutionally to be recognized. I would have disappointed them because I don't appreciate the aggression people are putting into a campaign like that. It is unconstitutional and it is unfair on the presidential candidate. It's very, very unfair. He must have the peace of mind to look through the whole army and select the one who will complement his ticket. It is unfair and untoward for people to want to influence him by way of engaging other people in the media and the citizenry to campaign for it. I haven't heard and seen any presidential candidate being confronted with campaigns as we have seen this time. Where in our MPP constitution does it state that at a time like this, the National Security will conduct a survey? Where is it? And is it the case that anybody would have instructed them to go and conduct a survey? And who did that? And if somebody did that, whose expense will it be? And why would we subject a national institution like national security to conduct a survey for a particular person? Or why would somebody come under a directive to conduct a survey in respect of one person's appointment or one person's nomination? I think national security has more to do than this survey. This survey, I find it very unnecessary. And like I said before, if I was the presidential candidate, I would even disappoint the national security and let them understand that they are busybodies in this matter. Nobody invited them into this.
You would disappoint them
by not sticking to the candidate they're promoting. I mean, when did it become the function of national security to be promoting a particular candidate for nomination into a position of running mate? When? Why now? And at whose instance? Well, I wouldn't speak for a majority because, as I told you, we have not been consulted as a caucus for us to state our position. But me, Apia Kubi, you can solicit my view on that. If it was for me to choose, I would choose him. Why? He's not my preference. Me.
He's not your preference?
Yes.
Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh is...
Apia Kubi is saying that he is not my preference. But that doesn't mean that he is not qualified.
Do you have a preference?
Well, if there was an opportunity like that, I would express a candidate, however acceptable or otherwise, to our presidential candidate.
What candidate would...
I would want somebody... I would want somebody who would be open with the people on the ground, who would be able to deliver the votes, and who would also submit to the presidency, and who would also be important in bringing parliament closer to executive. I would probably select somebody who was more acceptable by the generals going to the war, the parliamentarians. We should find somebody who, if the presidential candidate is not there, he will hold the hand of a member of parliament and go and conduct campaign in that member of parliament's constituency. I don't see that happening in this equation.
He doesn't have the quality.
He cannot hold my hand. So why would I say...
All right, so that's the Honorable Andy Apia Kubi. He's the member of parliament for the Santiachim North constituency, telling us his views about what he makes of the choice of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, who is the energy minister, as a running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I did indicate to you that yesterday the vice president met the majority caucus in parliament and formally informed them about his choice. But prior to that was when you heard Andy Apia Kubi expressing his thoughts. He actually acknowledged that yes, there hasn't been any meeting, nobody has said anything to them, but all the same, he has a preference, and his preference obviously is not Dr. Matthew Opoku. And he's given his reasons why. So let's start with Mr. Enes Adade, who is a member of the MPP's communications team, to tell us what he's been picking up in terms of what may have been the thinking of the vice president or their flag bearer and also his handlers on why they believe that Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh is the guy to help the vice president deliver the goods. Ernest, so what have you been picking up?
Thank you, Moro, and greetings to Mr. Duasare and Anaya.
Anaya, right.
It's been quite some time since we met, Anaya and I.
It's been a while.
It's good to have her around.
Right.
With the selection of the running mate for the MPP, it came with a lot of talk around, right?
It started with NIB
yes.
polls.
Before the NIB polls, people will have to lobby.
Yeah.
There's a lot of lobbying that was going around. There are so many names coming up. Education Minister, Chief of Staff, so many names were being Natoshi. Names were bundled around, so many names. It's normal in politics.
Absolutely.
Whenever anything is going to happen, there's a lot of lobbying. Even in our local chieftaincy environment, similar things happen. If the chief passes or there is an avenue for a chief to be chosen, everybody who feels he's a royal and is qualified to be a chief will have to go to the Queen Mother in the Akan settings. I don't know about other settings. But you also have to go and put in your bid and give reasons why you believe you can be one of the best. But all the parties have constitutions, right? And the MPP has a constitution. And the constitution gave that right to the flag bearer. And the constitution said the flag bearer should do that in consultation with a group of people, the Council of Elders and all that. So the consultations will go on.
Okay.
If you feel you are eligible, if I felt I am one of the people who should be a running mate to His Excellency, the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, I could have put in my bid.
Sure.
I have the right to. Am I not a member of the party? The Constitution says I should be 5 years. I should be 5 years within the party. Whatever the conditions the Constitution gave, if I felt I met it, I have the right to also put in my bid.
Absolutely, I agree
request
with you
to be considered.
Okay.
So whoever wanted to be or whoever went on lobbying and all that has the right to do so. He's a member of the party.
How do you respond to those who say that this kind of lobbying is also disrespectful to the Vice President? In fact, I've heard Esla say that lobbying, and you got to think about the lobbying, is that it puts undue pressure on the person who's supposed to make the choice at the end of the day. It's like, lobby because you think the person doesn't have the person doesn't have the suggest the person is not exactly
choose.
or the capacity to decide on who they want.
From what I just said, everybody has the right to. Because
you disagree. You think lobbying is normal.
I believe lobbying will always come in a political environment.
Okay.
Lobbying will always come in. You heard chairman of the NDC saying that even they haven't won power, the people are jumping on everywhere asking for positions, right?
Okay.
People are sharing positions.
Right.
It's normal. Maybe you are eligible and you are capable. If you don't come and blow your horn small, who will hear of you?
That's it.
And they will finish sharing before you come.
That's fine.
So
lobbying is normal.
Lobbying becomes normal, especially within the political environment, because there are so many people who would have helped the party to come to power, who are eligible, who are members, who qualify by the Constitution, like I said. So the question now is,
why NAPO?
Why NAPO? Exactly. And I have always said that all the people who came forward, Honorable Edu Chum and all the people whose names we had, are eligible. But if you ask me, NAPO is one of the best for me.
Okay. Why?
The position that people were putting names out there and choosing for the Vice President, in my opinion, would be what I will describe as disrespectful.
Okay.
Because if His Excellency, the Vice President, looks through the numbers, the people, and he decides to choose one, there is a process. He will present the person to the party, maybe for one way or the other, he will present the person to his boss who has helped him and has brought him this far. He will present the person, use the processes, and then present to Parliament like we had happened.
I get it.
Yes.
But the question is, why do you think you are not the Vice President. You don't speak for the Vice President. But you know the Vice President. Yeah. You have friends who are close to the Vice President. What have you been picking up in terms of the thought processes that went into the choice of Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh? What made him stand taller than the rest who actually wanted it?
I will turn your question a little.
Okay.
I wouldn't speak for the Vice President, but I will speak for NAPO, what I know about NAPO.
NAPO, okay.
And NAPO, education-wise, he's a medical doctor.
Right.
He's been through the mill. He's worked. He has experience on his work.
Okay.
He worked in Ghana. He worked in the UK. He came back to Ghana. He went into politics. He's a two-time. Since 2009, he's been a parliamentarian.
Yeah.
So the parliamentary processes and the political processes, he served on several committees. He's been a minister in two places, right? He was education.
Yeah.
He's
now energy.
Energy now. Education, he was phenomenal. Education, he was phenomenal.
So you suspect his track record in education ministry?
In my opinion.
In your opinion?
Not only education.
Okay.
The man's qualification and track record would have helped. I am not interested in the tribal part of the conversation.
The fact that he comes from Ashanti.
The fact that he's Ashanti, he can be Ewe, he can be this. If you qualify, you are somebody who we can sell to the people of Ghana, you can do the work, and he has shown that he can do the work. Look, in education, that's why I want to focus there. In education, for example, when NAPO took over, we heard that the NDC had started progressive free education and all that. NAPO made it clear. I listened to him on Peace FM on the things that the NDC during its era had proposed they were doing within the education sector.
Okay.
One was the building of the e-blocks, right? Out of the 200 that were proposed, and according to Okujeto, the Honorable Okujeto, out of the 200 that were proposed, and each one was going to cost 6.5 million, we needed only 1.3 billion Ghana cedis to be able to deliver all the 200.
Okay.
We were able to deliver only 29. And out of the 29, even, I think 14 or so were delivered, we were supported by the World Bank or the IMF or one of them. Right. I think the World Bank. Look, when NAPO came, the progressive SHS, NAPO made it clear from Nana Jiman's own handing over notes that he owed the progressive SHS. He couldn't pay. The Northern Scholarship, which has run since Kwame Nkrumah, they owed. They couldn't pay. There were so many things they were not able to pay. NAPO didn't take a year to clear all that debt.
Okay.
Cleared all the debt, and his flagship project, which was the free SHS, which was going to be delivered across the country,
right,
he was able to raise the money. And let me tell you, now as we speak, go and check how many e-blocks that were left by the NDC that have been completed under this administration.
So your point is,
I am telling you that the man as an education minister, if I am choosing, the reason why I would choose NAPO because we have a vice presidential candidate in Nana, is without any disrespect.
It's an educationist.
The Nana comes is
Professor Jane Anopo.
Professor Jane. The prof had been in education. He's been a vice chancellor. We know the record of the prof. He came and his own colleagues, his own lecturer colleagues, their allowance, the book and research allowance was under threat. Training allowances were under threat.
So let's focus on
these
Matthew.
things. So if I have to choose somebody to match him, I will give the person who was able to do what the prof
Jane
couldn't deliver.
Okay.
And I believe that it is the main reason why if I am going to sell somebody like NAPO against comparing oranges to oranges, NAPO versus the vice presidential candidate of the NDC, I will put NAPO forward because NAPO is he's been able to deliver what the other vice presidential candidate couldn't deliver.
But Ernest, the thing is, we're also told that in the selection of a running mate, you want to bring in somebody who has what you don't have in order to complement you. What do you think that NAPO has that the vice president, the candidate doesn't have, which NAPO would complement the vice president with?
This is what we have now.
Okay.
The vice president, we know his background.
Right. Which is the economics.
People have always said that, the vice president had not been very deep in politics before he actually entered. Right. Full technocrat. I listened to President Kufuor about the vice president when he said that first time he met the young man's delivery, was it at the UN or somewhere outside this country?
Okay.
He listened to the man, and he was convinced that the guy is a good material.
Okay.
So from somebody his caliber, who could just listen to the young man and pick the young man and say, this young man has prospects. Tells you what the young man is bringing on board.
Okay.
Come to NAPO. The vice president is an economist. He will run. He has learned. He has been the support of His Excellency the President Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo. We all know what they've been able to deliver, and he is going to continue in that direction. And then you come to NAPO, who has been a minister. He has been a parliamentarian. He knows the processes of governance within this country, and NAPO is bringing the processes of governance in this country on board his ticket, plus all the good things that NAPO had delivered as an MP. Look, I'm telling you that he is coming on board a stronger candidate.
Right.
And I am not interested in what is happening within the party. We are going into an election against the NDC and the other smaller parties.
All right.
Oh, CPP cannot be compared to the NDC.
But you can't say smaller. You
Oh,
say
I said smaller.
Well,
it means I am comparing.
relatively smaller.
I am yes.
Relatively
if I said
smaller.
small, you could have beaten me. But I said smaller, meaning that if I compare you to Edward Sari right now, you will realize that you are nowhere near Edward Sari.
Let's not digress because of time. I beg you.
Don't go and go are all there. They can't compare themselves to them.
Ernest, I'll come back to you. I'll come back to you, Ernest. I'll come back to you. Honorable Asari, I mean, look, you've been in politics. You've been in this game for a very long time. Did you see this coming? Did you see this Matthew Opoku-Prempeh thing coming? Do you think it's a good choice? Is it something that bothers the NDC, the fact that it's Matthew Opoku-Prempeh? Or you think that it's much ado about nothing? It changes nothing?
Thank you, my brother Moro. You wanted to know why.
Yeah, you've been on hiatus for a while.
Yeah, right after our last meeting.
Right.
The last time I was here, I think less than a week.
Okay.
I had an accident.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. So for the past 4 months.
Okay.
Almost 5.
Okay.
I've been at various points of recovery.
Wow. Sorry.
I was bedridden at a point.
Oh.
I was in wheelchair at a point. I was on Zimmer frame at a point.
Oh.
I was on double crutch at a point.
Wow.
And today I'm on one single.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Was it a vehicle? Yeah, I broke my pelvic, I fractured my pelvic bone. So we had to go through
surgery?
What do they call
rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation. They put, what do you call that thing? Something, I've forgotten the name.
What's the name? When you break your bone, there's this thing that they fixed. I've forgotten the name. Yeah, but I get it.
So that's what they fixed, and I now had to learn how to walk all over again.
Wow.
So I've been off radio, TV, and all of that for a while.
Wow.
I just started yesterday. I was on CTFM yesterday.
Wow. May God keep you. So
right.
sorry about that.
So back to the issues.
Yeah.
Of course, we were way back somewhere in November was when Vice President Bawumia was elected the flag bearer of their party.
True.
So, of course, right after that, there was that expectation that somewhere in February, they were going to announce the running mate.
Right.
And this was way before the NDC had even planned to launch its, or to mention its own running mate.
True.
It never materialized. But of course, names were bandied around to the extent the late John Kuma was even mentioned.
Quite strongly.
My brother, the Kokofu, Honorable Kokofu.
Yes.
The current chief of staff, Shalai Owusu, Natoshi, because they had hints that the NDC was coming up again with
a female running mate.
Yes.
Which is Professor Jane Opoku-Agyeman.
Of course. So there was that contemplation of whether or not to, bring a woman to march and so on. So, of course, we've been waiting to see how things will go. But they had, for some of us who have been in this game, we have tentacles all over the countries, and we pick signals from various quarters.
Right.
And one cannot discount the influence of Menchia in this particular decision. That
you think Menchia had a role in this?
Yeah. I said one cannot discount.
Discount, okay.
Yeah, the influence, because, of course, among the lot, Menchia has a say. And for some of the issues, again, that have been bandied around, the conspiracy theories, people believing that Wuntumi, who is the regional chairman, was not in favor of NAPO. And for that matter, because NAPO knew Wuntumi's influence on the ground was going to be inimical to his bid.
Right.
They orchestrated this whole issue of, it's alleged that this whole issue of Wuntumi that ended up at the Menchia Palace was a whole orchestration just to embarrass and bring him down to his level so that the whole Menchia influence can come back to the fore to push NAPO back into the space. So all kinds of theories have been bandied around. So later on, like some of you media people, we share information with some of us because we are your friends and we know what happens behind the scenes. So there has been a strong lobbying by NAPO, strong one. The media have not been left out. Strong media folks, I don't know about you though, have not been left out.
Nobody had approached me.
In the lobby, and wherever you go, you find the very, poster media personalities in whichever media
doing the bidding for NAPO.
Doing the bidding for NAPO. Do you understand? And one cannot, discount the lobbying effect, to the extent that the NIB of all institutions of state will run a poll.
An opinion poll.
An opinion poll for NAPO. Very strange. Very, very, very strange. That for a party, for that matter, somebody from a party, not a state institution, but they would go one step lower into a party, veered into a party and run a poll or the candidate. You can tell the influence that was going behind this whole thing. And they could trample on the state's own systems just so they can make it. So some of us, we are not surprised at the end of the story because we know behind the scenes what effort had gone into this whole thing. And then towards the end of it, last 2 weeks, it even surfaced that his mother is an Achim. Do you understand? At the point when they realized that the lobbying was tilted towards a certain direction, they needed to bring that into the fray just so they can have a certain balance. So everything has gone into it. And in the last 2-3 years, who hasn't seen NAPO's pictures? I was in Parliament with him. We entered Parliament the same day, and so I know him very well. And so, I know him. He decided to change his posturing. And whenever you will find NAPO, he's either in church with his hands raised or on his knees, kneeling or squatting before the vice president. And all those aesthetics were gimmicks just to create a certain posture. But like I said, despite all those pictures out there, some of us know him and have had that rapport, one-on-one rapport with him. And I am not surprised that his own colleagues in Parliament, like Honorable Andy Appiah Kubi and so many others who will not want to go on record, but have expressed reservations. Because his public outbursts, or whenever he's put behind the camera to speak in public, he has always done or gone haywire. You understand? You hardly, derive the supposed intellectual background that he has from this kind of, whenever he gets the opportunity to speak. We've heard him talk on this Keta issue, when the tidal wave issue, when it came up, when he went ahead to say that if government deploys any, or if the finance ministry allocates any funds.
For the people of
he
Ashanti
will
also, he will do the same
move
thing.
his people to demonstrate and all
demand.
of that. That was purely a tribal issue. Purely. You know, so I'm wondering how NAPO will go to Keta today as a presidential, a vice presidential candidate or a flag bearer, what do we call that? A running mate.
To go and campaign.
To go and campaign in Keta and its environs. Because this thing didn't only hit Keta. It hit all that area. And this was the man's best approach to an unfortunate situation such as we saw. All right? Whenever he even has to answer questions. When this issue about laptops came up, look at his disposition, that sense of entitlement, talking down to the Nagrats and you see, his body language smacks of someone who was not properly, brought up. Excuse my language.
Right.
Do you understand? Despite we went on a lecture together. When I think it's CYCP or CYPP or YC something. They invited us.
Was it outside Ghana?
Ghana here.
Or within here?
At Talisa Hotel.
Okay.
He did a splendid delivery.
Okay.
When it comes to that aspect. Do you understand? When he's on his feet delivering in Parliament. Impeccable. All right? But that is not the only place you work. You deal with the public. And in this case, we are moving from your constituency to the entire nation.
Right.
Whenever he has had the opportunity to speak, he displays that arrogance, that sense of entitlement. Someone sitting on a certain high horse and looking down at other people. That is the posturing that I have seen, which for me does not augur well for anybody who wants to lead this country
but
at
Dr.
that level.
Mahmoud Bawumia is aware of all of these things you're talking about. But
I'm
he still
surprised.
says he's
That is
the guy.
why, you see...
So there may be far more other critical considerations.
You see,
that went into the choice of NAPO.
Yes,
that's why you have your own theory.
Andy said we all have opinions, and that is my opinion is what I'm sharing. Candid opinion is what I'm sharing.
Yes,
and I can tell you for a fact. You see, if someone wants a particular person to win a certain slot, they will go all the way. My brother has gone trying to denigrate the former Minister for Education, Professor Nana Jane. And I think that the records are there. You see, the NPP is full of lies. They don't confront truth the way it should be. All right? If you had any, I don't know how to put it. Somebody says he has done, when we were leaving, we said we had done 49. And then you came and said, oh, it's not 49, it's 29. You think we should believe yours and throw ours away? We built the schools. And we left our handing over notes with all these numbers in it. And then you come and throw that, one more year, 29 pay. From that 49, have you added one like this? Apart from that 49 that you came and met, have you added one? The whole thing was 200. You see, the other day I listened to the former director of GES. I've forgotten his name, ever name.
What's the name? I know the man you're talking about. Yeah.
He said point blank that, look, when it comes to the intake of these free SHS, the numbers that I think there's a secretariat. Wonderful.
Yeah.
The numbers that the secretariat, the placing, whatever they call them.
Is it the placement
secretariat?
Yeah, secretariat, yes.
It says the numbers that they churn out is the numbers that they have on their paper of students who should be placed in schools.
Okay.
Those who land in the schools on record are far lower. And yet we keep hearing the large numbers. Oh, we have 1.2 this, 1 point that. Meanwhile, the numbers in the schools, as they have it per capita, is far lower. This is a former director for GS director talking. You understand? Every night, oh, we are the best in Africa. And we are the first to do it. I mean, what is this business of always want to be in the superlatives? Meanwhile, this is the track record. At the end of the day, we are bankrupt as a country because we are not telling truth to ourselves. Okay? So, my brother will come and sit here and tell me NAPO has a better record than Nana Opoku-Agyeman in this country. How is that the truth?
Well, one of the reasons he gives is, well, yes, the NDC started, under Professor Jane, started the progressive free SHS, day students. NAPO takes over as education minister, has expanded it, and now...
What was the the policy for the two parties? Were they the same?
It's been expanded.
What question? Did we promise Ghanaians the same policy as they did? We promised Ghanaians...
Progressive.
Right. And the way we understood progressive was that put the school buildings there, equip the school buildings, great access for the students, the environment that the students need to teach, teaching and learning to take place before you move people into the classroom. Yeah. Provide facilities. And that is what every E-block that you saw, each one building like that, had classrooms, had halls for a gathering, assembly halls. They had computer labs. They have book lab, bookshops, and all manner of items equipped there. They had where they have lunch and whatever. The canteen and so on. It's a whole complex. You understand?
But you build them in the bushes. How are they going to be able to access
It's only people who don't tell the truth who will tell you. Do you know when I was born in Accra?
Because NAPO said this several times.
Wait a minute.
He said you build those.
I said I was born in Accra.
Yes.
I was born in 37 Military Hospital. Okay? So many years ago. My father lived here in Accra. But I'm from Ebrew, Kuyapim. In the 70s, when we were growing up, whenever we were going to our hometown, we go to Kimbu bus stop to pick a bus to a Kuyapim bus station to pick a bus. And when you set off from Accra through Ridge, through Flagstaff House, 37, Shangri-La area, those, then from that side towards Tetekwashi, bush.
True.
Bush, left and right. When you go past the Tetekwashi roundabout, the only thing you see is the Ghana Standards Board area.
Yes.
There was some signboard, South Legon. There was some big signboard, blue, and written white, South Legon. That is the only thing that will tell you are around Legon.
Okay.
From all your left and your right, bush. Then you go to the University Gate. And then the electricity and water on your left side. And then you find Presec in the bush. In a bush. Left and right, all the way. So when you say bush and you don't have foresight, how does Presec look like today and its environs? Tell me. So Presec brought life to its environs because it inhabited people, human beings who needed to survive. So life was taken closer to Presec, and today we have a more progressive area we call East Legon or Legon. That is how planners do. They don't congregate everything in cities, in the center of cities and so on. These are people who lack foresight. That is how come they can describe that we put them in a bush. If you look, and the concept of having these schools, they still haven't grasped it. Every district must have a school at least, right? So you realize that as many districts as we kept creating, when we checked, we realized that the new district that had been created, a lot of them had been carved away from the schools that existed in the larger district as they used to be. So once they are carved out, they are left on their own without any secondary school.
Right.
So it was deliberately, as a policy by government, to locate these secondary schools in those districts. Once we are done with that, the rest, we can spread them around deprived areas. So you will find that when Adenta district was created out of Ashaiman has secondary schools. But Adenta didn't have a secondary school. So a district was placed there. Medina constituency, there's West Africa Secondary School in that constituency.
Yes.
If you go to Domi Kwabenya, there is a community school. It is another constituency that didn't have a secondary school. So if you don't understand any policy and you block your head from learning to get to know why the policies came up in the first place, then you go about talking as if, So okay. Please,
I'll come back to you, Honorable.
Let me just land on this issue.
Sure.
Let's not, and they go about talking about...
Because these conversations are going to come up.
No, I know. This woman...
There's a big conversation about...
Wait a minute. This woman, what? They keep on doing this propaganda. She couldn't supply chalk and what? Did anybody tell you somebody cannot supply chalk?
All right. You don't have to repeat it. Let me go to Nana Jantua, but let me also say that Professor Edujin first joined us. I just want to acknowledge him that he's joined us via Zoom and I can come to Nana. Prof, I believe that we have a clearer line now. Prof, are you with us? Prof has actually just indicated to me that he's joined us via Zoom. So, Prof, we'll sort it out and then come back to you, Prof. We're sorry about that. And Nana, good choice, bad choice, okay choice. That will it matter? I don't know. What do you think? Dr. Matthew Opoku-Prempeh. What do you think?
Good morning to your viewers and good morning to everybody. For me, it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Right.
The issue is that a party has chosen or intend to choose their running mate. And a party that has done abysmally at that. I mean, it's not going to bring anything. Maybe in the future, maybe NAPO wants to stand as the flag bearer for MPP.
Okay.
And this is going to be maybe a stepping stone for him. I mean, you can't stop him from having an ambition.
Right.
So if it's a stepping stone for him in the future, that is fine. But truly, I don't see why we should even have a whole time discussing the running mate to... yes. I mean, what is it going to bring? But my issue is that it is here and we have to talk about it. My biggest problem is the chauvinistic nature of the New Patriotic Party.
How do you mean?
The male dominance
of
the New Patriotic Party. When I saw names coming up of the women, I was happy.
Okay.
Because I believe women should be given the chance no matter what. And I always said that it was going to be an interesting time with two women as running mates to the men.
Okay.
But alas, this is where we are.
Right.
Because I thought Natoshi or... I don't have anything against... NAPO is actually my cousin.
Your cousin, okay.
Or my nephew, yeah. I don't have anything against NAPO, but I'm being frank. I thought that either Esla... I like Esla because they said she's arrogant, but I think she's assertive.
Right.
I mean, that is my view. Do you get me? That is my view.
Yeah.
And I thought Esla also Yes, or
Natoshi.
Natoshi. It didn't even matter where anyone was coming from.
Natoshi doesn't come from the Ashanti region. The party had made the decision there's got to be Ashanti region, even though NS doesn't agree with that.
No, I mean the point
NS
doesn't
doesn't think
because you
this
see.
whole tribal thing. Well, I heard Nanabi. I've heard.
Oh, they also even
individual capacity.
even the NIB's report said that they wanted an Ashanti.
An Ashanti.
Yes, but for me, it's neither here nor there. I'm an Ashanti. Napo is my cousin or my nephew. Yes, it would be good for family to have somebody like that. But the real thing is that I thought that if the MPP was strategic, now they've chosen so I can speak. Yes, before I wasn't going to speak. Yes, now they've chosen. Yeah, because Natoshi would have changed the dynamics in Greater Accra. And Greater Accra is also as populous as Ashanti.
Really?
Do you get me?
Yeah.
Because she's a Ghana woman. Now I can say it's gone. I did sat down. I said, Natoshi could have given a run for the NDC in Greater Accra. She's stylish, and she was going to also attract the young ladies. Do you get me?
That's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at it. She was going to attract the Gen Zs because the way she dresses, and she was going to attract the Christian community.
No, but he doesn't. He probably doesn't need that because Samira can equally do that.
No, it's not.
She's younger. She's
Samira
stylish.
is not on any ticket.
Oh, okay, I get it. But she's going to be moving with the husband. She's going to be, yeah. She's going to be, exactly. The vice president won't be on the ballot, but won't be on the ballot.
No, but then why are we talking? If vice president will not be on the ballot, why are we here?
Okay, so you're talking about somebody who can change the dynamics.
I'm saying that if vice president is not on ballot, why are we here?
No, but Anna, your argument is a person who can change the dynamics.
Yeah, I am saying.
Greater Accra.
Yes, I'm saying.
You talked about somebody who has
because
a sense of fashion.
Yes, because the vice president is going to do what? To campaign, isn't it?
Yes, definitely.
Yes, so you campaign and you appear with the youth. You have yes, and she's from Greater Accra.
Right.
Do you understand?
Yes.
And Greater Accra is as populous as Ashanti. Ashanti is a little bit populous.
Yeah, but Anaya, so just hold on a second, I beg you. If you are an MPP,
don't ask me too many questions to take my time.
I'll let you flow. But if I'm MPP and I believe that once we're able to shore up our numbers in the Ashanti region, we're talking there's a 1.1 million votes at stake.
Please, I beg you.
If I can get somebody who can lift me to 800,000, I'm home and dry. It won't matter what happens in Greater Accra. It won't matter what happens in Central. It won't matter what happens in Western region. It really won't matter what happens in the Northern region. 850,000, I've bagged it. And I believe that alone can win an election.
You see, if you are losing an election, you don't see things clearly.
Okay.
Ashanti region, there's a division in Ashanti region. They don't want Alan. Don't underestimate the Alan effect in Ashanti region.
Really?
Yes, it's really Alan's effect is great, and I always even fear that Alan is going to take from each one of us.
But that isn't that more than so isn't that even a good reason to choose an Ashanti
because,
to face off with Alan?
No, face off with Alan where? Because you see the point is that if you are in Ashanti, people are upset.
Yeah, there's apathy.
Yes, I'm saying that there's apathy. Remember 2008?
True.
Apathy made them lose.
Yes.
Good.
You don't think NAPO can reverse it?
I am saying that the Alan factor is there. Nobody should discount it. I'm an Ashanti.
See.
There are also simmering underneath people who are dissatisfied. Who are old in the party, who are dissatisfied.
Right.
So in that case, if you are doing, I'm saying now they've chosen so I can speak. Whenever you have a problem in your comfortable zone, you need a show up. Do you understand? You need a show up. Because Ashanti is not as definite as they think. It's not going to fall for MPP as they think. But I am very upset with the chauvinistic approach.
Okay.
The male-dominated kind of party they have. That for the first time consider a woman. So women are not fit to be at the very top, apart from being chief of staff. And even that chief of staff is chief of staff of the office
of the president,
making her some like a chief director.
Right.
Because a chief of staff is supposed to be in charge of the staff. What Apia Kubiandi is saying is in the constitution. That is where I think his problem is.
Right.
That in case the president is not available, will NAPO be able to stand in as the president?
Right.
So he made a comment that can NAPO raise up the hand of any parliamentarian?
Right.
Initially, when I hadn't read what, he had put across, I was like, it is not the running mate who raises the hand of the PCs.
Right.
But then I went back to, he said, in case the president is not there or the flag bearer is, can NAPO do that?
True.
Then it means he coming from parliament, can NAPO work with parliamentarians? He's a key member of parliament. He's been there for a while. And it's possible, we don't know the dynamics from within. It's possible he knows something that we do not know. In terms of lobbying, yes, I believe my cousin did a lot of lobbying. To the extent of NIB, I've never, in my whole life, in my adult life, when I noticed elections, yes, of course, even in my young life, because of where I come from, I noticed elections. But that NIB, BNI, has done a report, a survey, putting everybody aside. The others having some abysmal figures.
Right.
And I'm like, these people also have constituencies.
Yeah.
But as Honorable Iduasari said, NAPO is going to be running vice president in case, in the unlikely event that MPP wins the election.
Right.
NAPO is going to be the vice president for Ghana, not for Ashanti region. So if everybody say, oh, he's liked in Ashanti region, there should be somebody who is liked. I want to hear that NAPO is liked all over Ghana.
Right.
Do you get me?
I get it.
That everybody will say that NAPO is cool, NAPO is okay. It shouldn't be like the Ashanti say that NAPO is okay. Certainly that it means that you are skewed to a region. Ashanti region, if Ashanti region alone can make you win an election, then it is good. But Ashanti region alone on its own cannot make any party win an election. You need a mix of all the regions for you to win.
Right.
So if you are popular in your own region, you should be amenable with this kind of position with everybody because you are a potential president. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama woke up one morning and within 6 or 7 hours he was president. We are not saying that should happen. But even when, in case, the unlikely event that MPP wins the election, and His Excellency Bawumia is not around, we are looking at NAPO as the president of
As the
Ghana.
acting president and the president.
But the point is, even looking at their picture,
Yeah.
I wondered, NAPO he should change his public, the MPP should accept, he should change his public persona.
There's a lot of work, but can they work on him for
No,
the next 5
yes,
months?
because he can work on himself. I want to tell you
But
something.
asking him to not be himself.
No, you cannot. You work on yourself.
At this age?
Yes, in public life, you work on yourself.
No.
Do you get me? You work on yourself because you have to. Nana Poku should listen to what everybody is saying and work on himself.
Right.
Look, your antecedents and where you come from has a real factor on how you behave.
Right.
If you are not careful, you carry that into public life. Do you get me?
True.
So Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh was named after Prempeh the second, Opoku Wari the second.
Right.
He was also Matthew Opoku.
Right.
Do you understand me?
True.
He is the grandson of Prempeh the second. Do you understand? He
I get
comes
it.
from Apejafiem. His father was the Apejahene and all that. Now we are hearing his mother comes from Achi.
Yeah.
If you want to be in the public domain, you shelve all that.
Right.
Because as we were growing up, we are taught that we are royals. We are taught that we have subjects.
Right.
We have thought that people serve us.
Right.
So if you are not careful, inadvertently, you would forget that you are not in that royal domain. And if you are not careful, you take everybody as a subject. Do you understand?
And you think that's NAPO's challenge?
That is NAPO's challenge because I am from there and I know what I'm talking about. I made a conscious effort not to be like that. Do you get me? As we were kids, every time we went to the palace to have lunch with Opokuwari II, as we were growing up, they made you feel that you are a royal. But if NAPO has to succeed, he should immediately make a conscious effort to share that. Sometimes it is possible that even the way he speaks, he doesn't do it deliberately.
Yeah.
It is where he comes from.
Right.
He's done that for so long that he finds it very difficult to take it away. Because sometimes when he speaks, I look at him, and it's as if he's not even aware of his environment. Because he's done it so many times without any harm. And he hasn't been conscious that you don't do that.
Because what surprises me, I get it, because what surprises me is that he's been criticized very heavily with his public contrasts, but he hasn't changed. Look at what he just said recently.
That is what I am saying.
Nothing has changed.
When he spoke, I saw it in him. It is embedded. You need to make a conscious effort.
But Anaya, for somebody who has an ambition, don't you think that he knows it better than you, that he needs to work on himself?
No, but some people don't know. You grow with it. You have to make a conscious effort.
You think he hasn't made that conscious effort?
No, if he had made it, this will not come up. Because you have to say that this is what it is. I need to change. Because if he does not do that, then he's going to have issues.
Well.
There's also the issue of, is Dr. Bawumia really into Matthew? Is that what it is? Or Dr. Bawumia has been forced to take Matthew? Why has Dr. Bawumia waited so long to take Matthew?
He had to consult.
How many times? I mean, if you want to choose immediately become a flag bearer, have in your mind who you're running mate to.
Yes.
I know Dr. Bawumia wanted the priest, the pastor.
Yes, Professor Nyina.
Yes.
Opoku. Well, she has her ears on the ground. She has a lot of friends in the MPP.
Please, when you are talking, we didn't interrupt.
Please go ahead.
So, okay, maybe I'm wrong. There were rumors.
Okay.
Maybe let me phrase it.
Okay, so it's just a wild rumor.
Yeah, there's a wild rumor.
Okay.
That might have a lace of truth.
But in the BNI report, his name came up.
Yes.
Refi.
Yes. So if he wasn't considered,
the names. No, the NIB won't just pick up possible candidates if it was just a groundless rumor, a baseless rumor.
Please, you are taking my time.
Oh, okay. Picked up his guy. I'm actually helping you.
But I'm saying he said it's not true, so I'm saying that.
Isn't the NIB report?
So, Matthew is now chosen.
Okay. Why do you think Bawumia chose him?
Did he choose him, or he has been chosen for him?
Because we can't tell.
No, because we can't tell. Yes, of course, at funerals in Kumasi, one day I saw him standing with Bawumia. Bawumia was in cloth. And even when I was passing, I said, hey, NAPO is worrying Bawumia. Why should Bawumia be wearing cloth like this? But so maybe they have some relationship.
Yes.
Do you understand me? So the point is that was Matthew chosen for Bawumia? Or Bawumia chose Matthew? Whatever it is, Matthew has been chosen. So Matthew should now understand that he is subservient to Mahmoud. It is very, very important that Matthew starts reorienting his mind before we get a crisis.
Because he's a very ambitious young man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Before we get a crisis, that Matthew should start understanding that he's subservient to Mahmoud.
And not overshine.
Yes, the MM. They are both M, Mahmoud and Matthew.
Yes.
You should start understanding the subservient to this and start shedding his royal clothes. Because it's not everybody in this country who is a royal. Me, I made a conscious effort. I came to Accra at age 18 because what I was seeing around me wasn't the best. Servants here, this, there. So at 18, I left home. And I came to live in Accra. Lived in a compound house, shared the toilet with people, lived amongst people. I remember the first day my father saw I was sleeping in Accra here, he was upset. He had the house in cantonments, everything, but I said, I'm living in a compound house. So Matthew, it is late for him. He didn't recognize it early enough. But it is time for him to shed the royal clothes, because it is not everybody who is like that. It's not everybody who understands that. And if he doesn't shed the royal clothes, it's going to be problematic. It's going to be very problematic. Because the way he speaks, I don't think that he intends to be rude. But his upbringing is what is bringing this. Because you see, mostly within that environment, most of us are not in the public eye like that. My father had a character like that. I can say it is dead.
But now here's the question. Whether or not it's deliberate or not deliberate, isn't the party concerned about public perception?
The point is that at this, I've asked so many questions. Who did what? Because it's been a long time, and it's as if Bawumia, because all this time Bawumia was chosen somewhere last year, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And we are in July.
Yes.
And he hadn't chosen his running mate. It's as if a young man who is not married and at home, everybody is
So the question is whether Bawumia chose or was chosen for him. Wasn't the party or the vice president concerned
about what?
About public perception or the optics?
No, but even now that the name came up, people were talking. So we need to really find out what is it. I mean, no doubt about it. Matthew, Nana has some good qualities. He's intelligent. He is he speaks very well. He's very generous. And that is why maybe the party, the foot soldiers, because that
tend to like him.
Yes.
Because he's generous.
Yes, if he's generous. I mean, if he hasn't got it, it's different. But if he has it, he gives. He will share. Me, I'm being plain. He will share. But that aspect of his life, Nana Poku should change it. No, seriously.
Right.
I mean, as a politician, he's come far. He's come far as a politician. He stood as MP. Nobody was even expecting him to stand. He stood and he won. Now he's become minister, that. He's done good for himself. But you see, sometimes if you wear a white dress and there's a black spot, the black spot is noticed than anything else in the dress. So that thing that is worrying, because I was a bit mortified when he said on TV that they should bring their own timetable. Somebody who had condemned Dumso. Nana was always in my office when I was in PURC. He will come and sit there and he will be condemning everybody. Condemning me too. About Dumso. And today there's Dumso under you and you say that we should bring our own timetable. He was always talking about how the timetable is not being adhered to and all that. So that day when he said that, I was mortified. I said, why? Has he drunk something? Because the way it just came out. So my only excuse was that the environment was a political environment. So maybe he was frenzied by whatever was going there. So he had to say what. Because I was like, how? And this is what he should start checking. Do you get me? He should translate whatever he wants to say into English if he's going to speak Chi. And if he's going to speak English, you translate it into Chi to make sure that he's saying the right thing. He should check himself wherever he is. This offlandish way of doing things, he cannot continue to do it. He cannot. If he is going to be chosen. But you see, I have an exception to what my brother here said about Professor Jenna Opoku-Agyeman.
Yeah.
No matter what it is, no matter what she did at Ministry of Education, she's a trailblazer. Nobody can denigrate her. She is a trailblazer. This is a woman who became the first vice chancellor of a public university. Do you get me?
Right.
She became the first, and it was everywhere. Jenana Opoku-Agyeman. Now we are going to have Matthew Opoku Prempeh and Jenana Opoku. The two Opokus are going to meet. But you cannot denigrate her. You cannot say she did not do well. She's a woman. She's done well. She's come this far.
He's only criticizing her. He's not
criticizing her for what has she done.
When
it comes to payment, the whole Ghana we owe. Our debt has been restructured by China and all those people. Don't we owe? Is it the first time somebody will owe? I am asking. Is it the first? When it comes to women, if women make the effort to get somewhere, men and everybody should encourage them. Do you get it? Because yes, you criticize her. You don't criticize her unduly because you want to do politics. And you don't criticize because, NAPO was in education. Yes, everybody did their bit. But if you have to compare, everybody have done their own. But Jane as a woman, Mrs. Opoku-Agyeman as a woman has done so well. Managing the faculties in a university, do you think it is easy? It is not easy at all to do that.
Okay.
But she has been able to do that as a married person, as a woman, brought up her children. She has done what she had to do.
Right.
Do you understand? She had done what she had to do. 49 schools were built, whether they were built in the bush or wherever. Look, East Legon here. Moro, somebody gave me land at the East Legon at those days. I didn't take it because when I went there, it was like a bush.
Yeah.
And today I have regretted. Do you get me?
I get it.
So it does not matter where the schools are placed.
Right.
If you have foresight. And you see, if the NPP had encouraged these day schools, all the issues about free SHS
wouldn't have come up
because abroad, the young ones who go to school, the secondary schools, they have the normal GCE. They are day students. When you go to London, 8 o'clock, the days that they are in school, 8 o'clock to 3, you have to do everything within 9 and 2:30. If you dare go out at 8, you won't get a bus because all the children are going to school. By 3 o'clock, they are coming and they are full in the bus misbehaving. They are all day students. If you want your child to go to a boarding school, you have to pay through your nose for your child to go to a boarding school. So I believe that concept was good enough. Even Kwame Nkrumah started some of the day schools.
Yeah.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
The day and the boarding, it was started those days because they noticed that as we started the free SHS, there was also the need to make sure that some schools were close to proximity.
Okay.
So for me, I don't agree with my brother. Because Nana couldn't pay, is she the one to have paid? It is government that should give, Ministry of Finance should give her money to pay. If she was not able to pay anything, it is not because she did not pay.
Okay.
She was there as a Minister of Education, and finances are managed by the Ministry of Finance. Maybe this government, finances are managed from the Flagstaff House.
Okay.
That is why he's speaking like that.
All right.
But we should be very careful when we speak about women who have been able to get it. If they are anti-women, and they didn't want a woman to be their running mate, that one is their own business.
Let me speak to Professor Samuel Edujemfi. He's been trying to connect us via Zoom. Unfortunately, we're struggling to get him on Zoom, so we'll speak to him on phone. Professor Samuel Edujemfi is a political historian. He's also a lecturer at KNUST. Good morning, Prof. Thank you very much for joining us on Inside Pages here on Metro Television.
Good morning, my brother.
All right. Prof, good choice.
Interesting, right? Yes, for the MPP, I believe he's the choice they would want to work with. And so to every MPP member, I'm sure the party machinery will whip them into line so that they will throw their weight behind him respectfully going forward. So good choice is an answer I believe the MPP would answer. And if that is also the case, it may speak loudly on the 7th of December when we go to the polls, because I believe that the choice of a running mate comes with a lot of reflection. So if you have a candidate who is choosing a running mate, you would be interested in that candidate who will be able to galvanize some support and also add a lot to his campaign going forward. And so significantly, I am certain that by 7th of December and few days afterward, would come back to reflect on whether Matthew Opoku Prempeh really represented the best option for the MPP and also for the flag bearership of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
We're told that Ashanti region was key in his selection as a running mate because, take it or leave it, the Ashanti region has suffered some level of apathy. The party needs somebody who can galvanize the base to get the guys to come out in their numbers to vote on December 7. Of course, there are other reasons such as he has good relationship and good rapport with the vice president and so on and so forth. But we're told that Ashanti votes were very, very key in the determination of who actually partners Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and that's where Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh actually came up tops. You live there. You an Ashanti yourself. You grew up there. I'd want to believe, and so on and so forth. You lecture there. You have a better understanding of the psyche of the people who live there. Does the choice of a popular Ashanti politician like Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh change the electoral dynamics in terms of people who were apathetic yesterday would all of a sudden shed off their apathy because it's Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh? What kind of impact does it bring to MPP elections in Ashanti?
I'm certain that he's popular. He's popular within the MPP.
Prof. Hello, Prof. Hello, Prof.
Can you hear me?
Yes, if you could please speak up a little bit.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you, except that it's not very, you're not very audible.
Can you hear me?
We'll probably would have to make
Can you hear me?
Sir. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
This is much better. This is much, much better, sir.
Yes. So he's popular, indeed, within his party. Within the MPP, I believe he's paid his dues. He's been able to crisscross a lot of the sections within Asante. He's been able to maintain his seat and also has become more, if you like, connected to the party strongmen and also, if you like, foot soldiers because of how he carries himself within the party. The question is whether he's able to translate that into a kind of regional connecting more to the people within the region as against discussion within the internal party arrangements. I will tell you this. We are in the 8th year. In the 8th year, even if the MPP wins or lose, you see that the MPP is always consistent in terms of its followership. But at least you see in the 8th year that there's some level of apathy. At least if you have a new candidate like Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia contesting, then there is an interesting dynamic to even look at because you want somebody who would be able to also pull the masses, or better still, would appeal to the conscience and appeal to the interest of the masses in Asante, i.e. would the NDC look upon him as a running mate whom they would even love to see as a vice president in the foreseeable future? Would the CPP contemplate same? Would the floating voters contemplate same? So I think he has a lot of work to do even in Asante region when you look at Asante as a macrocosm. But if you look at Asante as a microcosm with respect to the MPP, I am of the view that he may be able to work with certain actors to whip the members into line, at least to deal with apathy within their ranks to get them to vote. I cannot even push back with what my sister was talking about because these were very strong pointers, very, very interesting point, because within the MPP, we've seen some cracks over the period where there's been contestation through strategy and machinations, getting into who becomes the flag bearer. They have duly and legitimately elected Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's own personality is helping him to be able to bridge the divide and to bring others together. Would Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh's presence rather flavor or garnish or spice it and make it work faster than it would have been, or it is rather likely going to halt or slow or gradualize the process than anticipated? And so it is quite interesting. That is why I said earlier that his appointment, I believe, came about through some deep reflection. But that deep reflection doesn't come with without question marks. For example, one of the questions I would also want to pose is why did he stay on for a very long time before he made this appointment or this nomination? Sorry about that. I believe it came about because Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh might not have been his first choice in the first instance. So he might have, missed the first choice through other contingencies or issues. I might have lost the second choice because there wasn't acceptance. He might have lost the third choice because the third choice was not necessarily interested. And so there are other dynamics that might have allowed for the delay to occur as we see. And at least it re-echoes the point that in choosing a running mate, you will just reflect upon it and deeply reflect on that. His ability to get Asante vote is a question that must be answered. It will be answered based on his own work that he will do. And I will tell you this in addition. I will say that Asante has shown loyalty to the MPP, whether they would see NAPO as a development factor. That is something they would have to ask, because the MPP has been in power not once, they've been in power twice. They've spent their 8th year, their second time coming to power. Have they been able to transform Asante, Kumasi, which is even the regional capital? They've been in power before. Asante has voted for the MPP. Has that provided them the public good? Is NAPO able to create that balance for them to be able to ascertain that this time around, if the MPP comes to power, the public good would be duly delivered to them? So there are a lot of questions that individuals are asking within the region. And these are issue voting questions. These are not party affiliation questions and fellow filial affiliation questions. These are critical questions they are asking, because as we are evolving in our democratic culture, we believe that politics must deliver home the public good. And that question must be answered by the running mate in the region if he's going to add anything to the discussion and add anything to the whole campaign of Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. So there's a lot of work for him to do. He will not get results because he's an Asante man. He will not get results because he is an MP in the region. He will not get results because he wears the MPP colors. I can tell you that in as much as, for example, Kumasi is becoming bigger than it used to be, I can say that, maybe some few years ahead of us, areas that were not part of Kumasi will likely be counted as part of Kumasi. Today we are talking about Greater Kumasi. We are seeing a lot of villages, adjoining villages, and those that go as far as Offenso Township and all that are very close to Kumasi. And so Kumasi is also systematically and overly becoming cosmopolitan than it even used to be. Yes, historically, it's been an entrepot but for many ideas and for many people crisscrossing. But in our contemporary times, we are seeing that it's even becoming much more cosmopolitan than it has been. And so the politics of Asante is gradually shifting, and also our interest and understanding about why we vote for candidates is gradually and systematically shifting. So he must come to the table with a lot of things. And one of the things I believe he must come to the table with is an individual who comes to the table with less, if you like, skeletons in his cupboard. Comparatively, if you look at the gender perspective in this campaign, looking at the running mate of the NDC, it's very significant that if you look at the demographics, I believe that women and children are more than adult males, right? And you would see that over the years, if you look at the literature, we talk about representation and all that. I have argued historically that I am in full support of quota system. Not that our women folk are not powerful and intelligent and smart and are able to lead and do what they want to do. But I believe that because of the machoism, the insults, the rudeness, and how untidy sometimes our politics have been over the period, some women, well-intended women who have capacity, the charisma to deliver, have decided not to indulge or engage in politics. And so if you have a woman, former vice chancellor, with the kind of capacity she has, and having been able to go for a first round with former President Mahama, having learned his script over and over again, has in recent times delivered one of the most powerful speeches you can contemplate and reflect on, a linguist herself. She comes with an interesting gender dynamic even to the campaign now. You look at charisma, you look at persona. It's been at the core of the discussions this morning, having followed what my sister was talking about and what the other gentlemen have talked about. It is critical that if you are looking at their pulchritude, their persona and charisma, these two individuals, who is better placed in terms of courting public sympathy, courting public support, and again on the gendered perspective, who is representing a certain demographic that must begin to look at their interests. And if you look at their interests, you're looking at the interests of the informal sector, and the informal sector is commandeered or governed by our female folk, and they are the breadwinners in many homes across the country. I hope I'm not doing campaign for the running mate of the NDC, but this is a critical pointer that I believe, taking notes this morning, we need to also footnote that in our discussion, because it's going to be that the gender perspective must come up. Yes, the education item would come up because the two individuals have served in that sector before, but I will tell you this, I will push back on any discussion that seem to denigrate, disrespect, and disregard the person of Professor Jane Nano Pukwajiman. And so I share the thought and the sentiments of my sister. But again, I must say, within the broader scheme of things, it is important for us to, agree or disagree that where we sit as a country, politics of issues is what we are contemplating now. And so if people today think that machinations, for example, might have triggered the, I do not want to say the rise of NAPO or Dr. Prempeh into this nomination, it may not speak well. So I want to believe that his spokespersons and those who would follow, communicators, will do a good job, because the NIB did not also do any better. So I hope they will do a good job to present his personality in such a way that will be unencumbered within those spheres. And that is what Ghanaians are looking at. President Akufo-Addo had a lot of crisis becoming a president. Before he became a president, people looked upon him and felt that he didn't have the typical Ghanaian posture or attitude, the typical humble, humane sense of posture. If you like, diction, how he spoke, how he carried himself. Yes, this is that Ghanaians would want us to appear in a certain way. Ghanaians talked about it. It got to a time he had to, he bought a trotro, you remember? Yes. In his campaign, he was feeding on Calipo. There were so many things that were done to rebrand. I believe that political marketers within the MPP, I believe they have a lot of juggernauts and intellectual colossus. Colossus is there. They aren't tabula rasas at all. So they are going to properly package, brand him, and put him out there for him to play a very nuanced, a more nuanced and also complementary role. Let me just add this bit. I also share the thought of my sister again and I would rather add that he should not speak off the cuff, right? He must not speak extempore. He must be scripted going forward, because there is a lot of work to be done. It's not going to be easy, and so he must roll his sleeves. Thank you, my brother.
Prof, wow. Prof, you can do this for just a minute for us, just 1 minute, because we ran out of time. His perception as somebody who's arrogant and a loose talker, how's the party going to deal with this? And what does he need to do? I mean, Anaya has talked about how he needs to work on himself if indeed he intends to endear himself to the generality of the broader masses, because you can't just be appealing to MPP or some MPP Ashanti votes, and that's not enough. You need to appeal to others outside of your party base. What does NAPO need to do to be able to better package himself ahead of the 2024? And whether he has time. He has just 5 months to go.
He doesn't have much time, but he has political marketers and experts within the MPP. He should listen to them. Presidents listen to their security apparatus, security men around them. They tell them to sleep even when they don't want to sleep. They tell them to sit where they don't want to sit, and they listen. Because at the end of the day, you are being branded for a job. And so he must listen to them whilst they take him through a dress rehearsal from time to time for his public outings. He cannot act outside.
It cannot be business as usual, Prof.
Yes, right.
All right. Prof, thank you so very much for your time. It's always a pleasure talking to you.
Welcome, my brother.
All right. Honorable Idrosari, in just 2 minutes, what I understand the NDC intends to do, you are just going to be playing back his tapes. Is it true?
Oof. He's not aware.
We have not even
You've not sat down to design a strategy
No,
yet.
he hasn't
You're
been
waiting.
in the picture at all.
So you're waiting.
For us,
your target is Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
I mean, of course, he's the one going on the
ballot sheet.
On the ballot sheet.
Yeah.
And so,
but as a strategy, you don't think that it makes sense to
you see, we will give it a bit of time. We know which part of him to switch on.
Okay, or to punch.
And he will deliver freely without any prompting. You understand?
Right.
So when we get to that point, you wait and see that bit of it.
Right.
But
concluding remarks.
Yes. People are talking about branding,
right.
And I heard Professor repackaging and all of that.
Yeah.
We repackaged President Akufo-Addo. We branded him. We changed his dentures. We did all kinds of things. His dressing style and everything. We made him look like a younger man even than President Mahama, who was contesting with him in 2012. 16.
Yeah.
All right.
You made him eat kenke with
the public. He ate kenke
with the public.
In whatever Bukom area. He drank Calipo.
He was in Trotro.
Everything that had to make him look like someone who was humble, someone who was, closer to the people and all. What do we see today? His real self has come back.
Right.
The very nature of Akufo-Addo that we knew in the past has metamorphosed again. You understand? So this issue of branding and rebranding and whatsoever, President Mahama, everybody knows him before he was deputy minister,
right.
Before when he was minister, when he was vice president, he has been president. He is now ex-president. He hasn't changed. That is character. Do you understand? And that is what we need for both Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, whose character has been well dented by the various deceits and lies that have been told over the past 8 years. And he hasn't stopped. He still goes ahead to do so. And now I'm surprised. I'm wondering how NAPO's presence. And I wrote something down because of time I couldn't. I wanted to ask, what exactly is NAPO coming to fix with Vice President Bawumia's dents that year? What aspect of it is NAPO's presence coming to fix?
The point is there must be a certain weakness you identify that you
exactly.
want your running mate to come
in. You said this man has been branded a big liar. And it is all over. The whole world accepts it. Do you understand? So what aspect of it that he recently, like this Nanaya was talking about.
So you don't know what NAPO is bringing to the table?
I can't find it anywhere.
Okay.
I can't find that anywhere.
Yeah, because of time. Let me go to Ernest. He says he can't find what NAPO is bringing to the table.
Moro, I'll start from Nanaya's use of the word denigrate. It's a bad word.
Okay.
I never said anything to denigrate Prof.
Right.
What I said is NAPO tried to compare performance and track record.
In the two.
And I said that she said she started free SHS, and the free SHS, which was the progressive one, they owed. Right. Fact. She tried to cancel the lecturers' research and whatever allowance. Fact. Teacher training allowance cancelled under her. Fact. I didn't denigrate. I didn't say anything about or say anything. The use of the word denigrate was bad, and unfortunately, I heard the professor repeat, and that's bad.
You mean it's unfair to you think?
It's very bad. Okay. Nobody said anything about her. The question is, what is NAPO bringing? In fact, we heard the NDC say that Nana was to fix credibility issues with his boss. That was terrible. And this came from the NDC. Oh yes, I can give you the video. Wait, I can give you the video. No, who? But I can give you the video. You don't worry. I will get you the video. I will send it to you. I will give you the video. The video, you will see the person. If it's coming to fix credibility issues, NAPO is coming on board. We believe that. Let me finish my 4 minutes. I will give it. I will give it.
And as I said, who? He still hasn't told me who.
I haven't told you yet. Because I want to finish. I want to finish making my speech.
You don't need this kind of speculation.
Once it's not given out,
I will give. Oh, you don't worry. Moro, if I give it to you will play it.
I'll play it.
Attract. We said that we believe that what we need to bring on board, or what NAPO will need to bring on board, is to be able to attract voters.
Right.
We believe NAPO can do that. We believe that the person who is coming to complement the ticket of Dr. Bawumia should be able to attract the floating voter, and then be able to get people who might have been disgruntled, and the apathy you are talking about, and the professor also referenced, maybe possibly in Ashanti or other places, to come and fix that. So if somebody decided not to vote within the Ashanti region, and this can fix it. So many things went into the decision to choose. So the issues that are being raised all over, they are expected. People will say things. But if you ask me, I believe that the choice has been made by His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and he believes that that choice is going to help him achieve whatever he has. Look, Dr. Bawumia was chosen in August. Right. So those saying that we have delayed. It took Mahama close to a year or a little over a year to choose his running mate. And nobody, but in our constitution, we said when we are in opposition, we will choose one clear year one clear year before we go for the election. But our constitution never said that when you are in power, choose within a period. So the good work, what I believe in is that if proper consultations are done and a good work is done in choosing the running mate, that's the most important. That's what matters to me, so that nobody will say he rushed into choosing somebody and he didn't consult this group, and this group had not been looked at. And no, I don't care about that. But look, let me tell you, Mr. Duasari, yes, sir. Go to the Get Fund website now. Or Moro, you can go and tell your listeners. As at the time NDC left office, how many Get Fund schools were completed? Get Fund paid for those schools. So if Get Fund says, I paid for 10, I paid for 20, I paid for 29, that is sacrosanct. Go and check. Right, so all these things, look, from they paid and completed, it is there. The Get Fund administrator is called Mr. Boedu, and he granted an interview. He granted an interview when Okujeto Ablakwa said that they had completed 50. He granted an interview. Right. So all I'm saying is he's trying to disprove the things I'm saying. And what I'm saying is that the topic we are discussing will bring comparison. Do you know why?
Right.
Do you know why? Even you, somewhere along the line, I had an issue with you when Nanaya said that she tried to be a little condescending about His Excellency the Vice President.
Right.
He's saying good things, he's my brother, and then punching at the same time.
Who's my brother?
You seem to have...
Bawumia is my brother.
No, you are talking about the running mate.
You said Vice President.
But that's a running mate, he means.
I mean,
it's a slip.
Our running mate, he is going to be Vice President.
Yes.
So don't worry. But what I'm saying is that when she made those statements, you seem to have said that, Bawumia knew all these things and still chose.
No, I'm saying that. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that these are issues that have been in the public domain. I'm saying that the Vice President is aware. But the Vice President says he still wants his...
Everybody. Who is everybody? If they choose me, you don't know anything about me as I sit here. If they choose me as the next running mate or the next flag bearer, you will hear things.
So nobody will
some things that I never did.
All right.
And they will
Because of
come.
time.
So
Please, you are
one good
taking my
thing is
time.
that
Yes.
NAPO, Ghanaian voters will look at whether the person is a corrupt person, corruptibility,
Right.
whether he's been able to
Competent
do
and
something
so on
for
and so
himself,
forth.
whether he has any achievement. The Ghanaian voter looks at certain things.
Right.
NAPO has been minister. He has been an MP. He's been this and that. Apart from somebody saying he's a royal and all this, you can't say anything about him.
Please go. Let's
Keta voters.
Yes.
But go and check the statement.
I beg you,
NAPO
because of
never
time.
said
I beg you,
that nothing should go
because
there.
of time. I beg
In
you,
fact,
Ernest.
all the agencies
are you
under
not allowing me to
NAPO
talk?
donated.
Yes.
DRA went.
Ernest,
will you allow me to talk?
Yes, I beg you.
I beg you.
Nania, please go ahead.
I am
Edward
surprised.
is
I am surprised. I am surprised today. Somebody who is an MP has the credibility and acceptance to be a running mate and maybe subsequently a president.
Yeah.
Because when they are talking about His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, they start saying, after all, he's become MP. He's this. Why does he want to be president again? You get me? Right. So now MP is a good criteria to take the position of the presidency. You see, he said something, Ernest said something. He said that my brother is chosen because of the people who are disgruntled. So is he saying that the Alan group?
Did I say that?
Yes, I've written
I
it.
never said that.
Oh, you said one of the reasons to bring those who are disgruntled on board.
Yeah, bring more floating voters.
No, you said
bring more voters.
Yes,
That's
you
what
said.
I
Please let her.
The way you say it, you never said it. You said
I
that.
never used the word disgruntled.
You said
did.
You did. You said disgruntled.
You did.
And I beg
In
you,
your
let her.
final,
So let me finish.
in your
Because I wrote it here.
concluding statement.
Yes,
Yeah,
he
please
said
go ahead.
that.
If you can bring Alan on board, what spoils that?
Yeah, okay, please go ahead.
And if we know what the dynamics are, we shouldn't be peacockal about
Right.
it. I mean, Alan can be brought on board and his people. Osinadoye, who has been locked up, he can bring them on board.
Why not?
No, can he? I'm saying that can he bring them on board?
Right.
And that is what the question. We shouldn't just throw words and say A, B, C, D. And also, there's this rumor that he's a preferred candidate of Kennedy. And that is a rumor. I don't know. Somebody should substantiate
No, but
it.
Kennedy hasn't hidden his admiration for Dr.
That is the point.
He said it time and again.
So now they are saying
he's
that.
one of the few Papa for more
Yeah.
parties.
So now, I've heard that the condition is that if they don't choose him,
Napo,
he was not going
Ken
to join.
won't join the
Yes,
campaign.
and when he joined in Kumasi, you saw what happened.
Yes.
You get me? So that condition.
Yeah, but Ken himself has landed in trouble for joining the campaign.
Whatever it is, he joined.
Okay.
So if he landed him in trouble, how then can anybody else bring the disgruntled people on board?
Okay.
Do you understand?
Right. Thank you very much, Nanaya Jantua.
He took all my time.
I know. He does that to you sometimes.
Oh, he does it
He says you
every
guys.
time.
He says,
Why are we in a classroom that you have a note? You are writing plenty.
Let me just read these messages
keep
before
it and
we go.
go and give it to Napo.
So this one here says,
And
good
that's
morning.
what I'm saying. Go and give
Please
it to
hold on. I beg you. Please hold on. Good morning. Nanaya, that is not all about gender. It's who has the competence, hard work, and a go-getter, which Dr. Napo is far better than the running mate. Moro, politics in Ghana is very interesting. Nanaya was the first female general secretary of the CPP and is the first female general secretary to be sacked. That's what somebody says. No, she resigned. She wasn't sacked. She resigned for a fact. It says choice of Napo as a running mate or walking mate. Can't change anything for the NPP. Bawumia can't and will never be president of Ghana. That's coming from Hosanna. This one says, I want to know from the NDC man if Presec was established in a bush as a day or boarding school. I'm called Nana Kweku Ochre Abebiu. Abe from Tema says, Idrasare's Presec example is flawed because it wasn't a day school built in the middle of nowhere. Meanwhile, he paints a picture as if Medina didn't exist by then. He should come up with a better example. Without Napo, breaking the 8 will be extra difficult and impossible. Let's bury our egos and support the right person. Napo is the alternative universal man of the moment. Congratulations, Napo. And that's the messages that have come through so far. My name is Aldumo. Thanks to the Honorable Idwasari. He's a former member of parliament for the Adentan constituency. As a very strong NDC member. Nanea Jantua is the former general secretary of the CPP. And also the man Ernest Adade, a member of the MPP's communications team. Yes, I've mentioned that already, that she resigned. She wasn't sacked. And also Professor Samuel Edu Jemfi is a political historian, a lecturer at KNUST. Prof, we want to thank you very much for your time as well. My name is Aldo Moro. Big thanks to the production team, CC, Fortune, and the rest of you, Azay, and all of you. Big thanks. And Harrison, great chap. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye-bye.